And you are on.
All right. Oh, let's turn that off. All right, we're ready to go. Okay, we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Monday Night Monster Jam. We got a lot to cover tonight. We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff. But to start with, we want to welcome everyone. Ryan, let's do your thing, man. We'll welcome everyone on. Say hi to everybody that's here.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, everybody, thank you very much for joining our third show here. And everyone here on the Casey side of the house is super excited to have you with us. And we want to make sure that it's a participation show. So if you have a question, if you have a process question, if you just have a fun question, well, this is a good night for all that. We're going to collect your notes, and we'll do our very best to get them to Casey, at a time that makes sense for everybody during like an instructional pause. But right now we've got Chris Dawson on the line. We've got Michael Strapik. We've got T-Tan. We have Magneto Creations. We've got George. Mike Receiver Spook Show just hopped on. And we got 15 more and growing.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Hey, welcome. We got Ryan handling moderation. Thank you, Ryan. And back here with me, we got Sam helping out with all the technical stuff. Can't see him, but he's here. Say hi, Sam.
Hello.
Sam's takes care of all of our technical stuff, camera, everything. So we got a nice and clean running show. So thank you to both these guys, because without these two guys, I can't do this show. They make this happen, really. I just sit here and sculpt monster crap all day. I did start off the show for those of you who hit us up on the first Monday Night Monster Jam with the pizza question. I just had some pineapple pizza. We'll have a little bit more later on. Just letting you know, taking care of that tonight. And so there's a special announcement tonight with this show, and I want to go over that right away just to kind of let everybody know. So as we grow as a community here and everything, I talked to Ryan and talked to Sam, and we discussed some things after the last show, how we can make the show better. What can we do for the fans, for the people joining us, our friends, our family here? Basically, you guys are our family, and we want to also do something for you guys, not just, you're helping us out, but what can we give back to you guys as a thank you? So to start off with, we are climbing, up and up with subscribers, and we're asking that, more people subscribe. If you haven't already, please do so. Hit the like button. That helps us. Or as most YouTubers say, smash that like button. But what we have coming up is as we hit 1,000 subscribers, as we get close to that, which we're not there yet, but we're heading in that direction every day. We get more and more subscribers. So if you got friends, family, whoever you know that might like this stream or be into it, let them know about it, and to subscribe, please, because it helps us out. So what we're going to do is a giveaway. Our first giveaway, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, what we're going to do is I'm going to cast 10 sets of these little kind of magnet-sized busts, or whatever you want to call them, heads. And there's 4 in a set, right? There's the demon, the 2 witches, boiled witch, melted witch, and this demonic werewolf-looking guy. So I'm going to cast 10 sets, and I'm going to paint them. I'm going to hand paint them, nice. All sets, okay? And I'll sign each one on the back. And we're going to give these away to 10 lucky people from the stream. So 10 of you guys, when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we will announce 10 winners. We'll pick them randomly, and I will send you a free set, painted set of these magnet guys. We can magnet them or whatever, but you'll get a free set on us as a thank you. And, this is just our first giveaway. So who knows what the future giveaways will hold or what they will be. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. As soon as we hit 1,000, we're going to give 10 sets away. And in the meantime, I can start working on those things. It's going to take me a minute to get them all done. So
the next 4 streams or something like that. It's this year.
Yeah. So we just wanted to share that little announcement with you guys tonight that, and these aren't painted, by the way. These are just samples right now. But they will be fully painted by me, and you'll get a set of those for free if you're one of the lucky 10 winners. So once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we will announce that and make sure that everybody knows who won. All right, so that's the biggest announcement for tonight. And then the other thing I wanted to go over too was some cool stuff. My wife and I sat down over the weekend. She's been a huge help behind the scenes for this stream. And I have to put my glasses on for this one, getting old. I just wanted to share with you guys what the future for this stream holds, like what we're thinking. And this is just a rough draft, but to kind of give you guys some insight on the episodes, because I'm getting a lot of questions and a lot of people are saying, oh, I hope this continues. This is so cool. And we really appreciate that. That makes me super happy. So since that's the case, we wanted to say, okay, well, we have big plans for this stream. And what are those plans? So what are we going to be doing? What am I going to be doing? Right now, we're in the middle of this Batman vampire thing, and we're going to continue with that tonight. And that's going to continue for the next several episodes because we would like to actually go ahead and take it to a finish and show you guys everything that I would really want to show you on a sculpture. Rather than just, switch to something else every week, which was the original plan. Now it's like, well, what can we do? What if we show them more of the process? I mean, I think that people want to see the full process, but how do you fit that into a 2-hour stream? Well, you can't, it's just not enough time. Sculpture it takes time. So I've been working on the vampire Batman for a little bit on the side, and I'll keep doing that between the streams, but then show you guys where I'm at and continue until, and finish it. So a few more streams of him to finish him off. And then going forward, just to name off a few of the things that we want to accomplish on this stream. For one, I'm going to do a demonstration on painting human eyes for you mask painters that want to improve your paint skills, or maybe your painting's better than mine. So whatever, forget you, screw you. No. But anyway, I'll try to teach you something. I don't know, whatever. But I'll do a human eyes episode, which will be just like a 1-episode thing, and a monster eye episode, which will be its own episode where I'm painting some monster eyes, could be blind, cataract, monstery, werewolf, whatever, right? And then we have another thing called sculpting, sculpting human ears. I almost forgot what that was. So we're going to do an episode on how to sculpt human ears properly. I see a lot of sculptors out there that still, that sculpt human ears really good, and I've seen other guys that struggle with it, and especially in the mask community, some guys kind of sculpt ears that look, a little bit like more donutty and weird, and they don't really have cartilage and look like real ears. I want to help you guys improve your ears, So I'll do a demonstration on sculpting human ears, but that's not all. I'm going to take that human ear and then transform it into some sort of monster ear, like a werewolf, a vampire, something cool. So we'll do a human ear and then take it, how do we transform it from there into something else, right? So we can have fun and make it creature design, so it's not just human anatomy. But that's the important part of it. And then we're going to do, I'm going to do a thing on sculpting monster dentures. And what that is like the werewolf I showed you guys before. I'm going to finish that off, cast it without any teeth in it. And I'm going to show you the process I do on how to make separate dentures for your monster maquettes. Okay, so like if you have a maquette and you want to do dentures and you want them to be separate from molding, or just to be a different material and look cool, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This technique also applies towards masks. So if you wanted to do separate dentures in your masks, you could totally do that. Painting resin busts. So we will take you through several episodes where we just sit down and paint a resin bust, and I'll show you some of the techniques. Latex casting, how I go about casting a latex mask. I will be doing a full-blown commission werewolf head on this stream at some point, where we start it, and it'll be a few streams long, obviously, because I will be sculpting in wet clay a werewolf head, and that's going to be a multiple stream thing, and then painting that werewolf mask. So, and that'll be a few streams. So looking ahead, that's about, when you add all that up, it's about 22 episodes, at least. Right? So cool thing is you got 22 episodes to look forward to coming up with us, and we're super excited about it, and I'm stoked, you know. So
It's gonna be fucking awesome.
it's gonna be killer. Yes, awesome, totally awesome. So I cannot wait to get into all this with you guys. But tonight I'm gonna jump back to our Batman buddy, and do you want to? I got to move him a little bit, Sam. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Just so I can get him a little closer to me. Come here, baby. Come here. And I did some work on him, you know, over a few days. I did a little work on this arm, just building out some of the musculature. Let's show you what that kind of looks like. I haven't gotten much work on the hand done at all, but I'll get there. Again, I work on this a little bit on the side, you know, during the week when I can. I don't have a ton of time, but, you know, I get a little bit of time in, and just to kind of show you guys where he's at and how he's looking here. It's coming out pretty cool. So it's a fun one, you know, something cool. I still think it looks like some mutated Batman penguin thing, you know, which is awesome, but a mashup, right? So, and I've put in some of the serratus muscles and obliques and all that, and messed around with this, you know, this side as well. I've been tinkering with this side here, and some of the traps and some striations in the neck muscles there. He doesn't have much neck, but, you know, and still playing around with this side and the stretching and all that. And I did some wrinkles in the shoulders. I'm just kind of going over what I've done. I've done some of the wrinkles in the brows. Took the eyelids out because I wasn't digging it yet. I don't know if he's going to get eyelids or not at this point. And again, some of the muscles back here. Just playing around, you know. I'm just still finding the design, like feeling it out and trying to get it all. There's still some facial work to be done on this side. So that catches you up to where we're at on Batman right now. Our little creepy vampire Batman. And I'm going to just continue to rock away here on this. And while I do that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan to talk to you guys a little bit.
All right, Casey, we've got 2425 folks joining here. We've got Jacob Cherry, and we've got Stephen Oakley joining, Dom Draven, Kevin Young is back, awesome, Andrea Hernandez, and we've got Brian Dunn and Doom Draven. So folks seem to be really stoked, Casey, about the giveaway being planned. And and T10, just going to throw a question, Casey, just to kick things off here.
All right.
T10 asks specifically, maybe I missed it, but are you planning, Casey, to cast the baddie here and sell copies?
Okay, so I've been getting asked about that a lot. And this is going to hurt a little bit. This is going to sting you guys. It's going to sting a little bit. I know. I cannot sell copies. Unfortunately, just to be really clear and upfront with all of you guys, I do work for Sideshow Collectibles. That is my full-time job. And anything related, even though this is my own design and all that, anything related at all to superheroes, I cannot, you know, I have to keep the art fully original, my own thing, in order to sell it and all that stuff and sell copies. So I apologize for that, because I know that's going to sting a little bit. I would love to, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to sell this guy. I will mold it for myself, but that's about it. So you'll have to, you know, hope and pray that one day I can do that. Or maybe it would get licensed or something, but I doubt it. So yeah, that pretty much covers that.
Right, that's absolutely fair, Casey. Yeah, Dom Draven, I think, is sharing the point that we all feel right now is curse the copyright laws.
Yeah, you know, but you know, hey, maybe this will turn out cool. Maybe Sideshow would pick it up. I don't know. Who knows? You never know what can happen. But yeah, I gotta, you know, I gotta do that. I gotta keep it clean. Anyway, yeah. What else? So, and this is the point where everyone gets mad and leaves the stream. That's it. We're done. We can't get it. We can't get the. Can't get the Batman. We're out of here. No. All right. So yeah. Anyway, I apologize, guys. But here's a good thing, right? So a positive side to that, excuse me, is if there's other things that maquettes and creatures I do on this stream, which I'm planning on quite a few of them actually to show you guys. Plenty of them will be available for sure, 100%, because they're all totally original and they're not related to any superhero characters or whatever. So those are fair game, and I will produce them and sell copies. All right. And do we have any other questions, Ryan, that we want to hit early on, or?
Oh, sure, absolutely, Casey. We've got one that we've answered in the past, but just for the anyone new perhaps joining the channel, this is a great question. Are you legends going to be at Monsterpalooza this year?
Okay, so last time I got asked this question, and I was not really sure, and I know I hadn't really made any plans, and so. I've been thinking more and more about it. I would love to return, and I would love to be back and see everybody, and especially just for a visit, just to visit and see all my friends and all the cool monster artists there doing their thing. As far as like having a table and selling art, no, that's not in the works for sure right now. I talked about last time taking a break from the show, and I'm still kind of on that break. I just got burnt out doing the show a little bit. But anyway, as far as like attending and seeing everybody, I would love to. Of course, I got to get passes figured out. I got to talk to the man who's behind the scenes there, see if I can get in and whatnot. Anybody want to sneak me in? Sneak my family in? No. Yeah, so the plan is, I'd love to visit and hang out and just see everybody and have fun. So that's on the table as a possibility for sure, Alrighty. And I'm just going to... You guys just sit back and watch. I'm just going to go all over the place on this thing because I'm trying to clean up areas and I'm trying to figure out things, doing a stream and concentrating the way I normally would, let's say, off stream, right? Like figuring things out. It's a different situation because when you're demoing live, you got to try to be in the moment of the sculpture, but I'm usually very quiet when I'm in the moment and trying to find my flow, if you will. So, but I got to talk to you guys, too. I got to entertain. So, trying to do both of those at the same time is tricky for sure. So if I get a little quiet, I apologize, and that's where Ryan will step in and be like, "What's up, everyone?" Any other early questions we can do?
Absolutely, Casey. I think a great one here. We've got two that I'll lob your way here.
Okay.
David Felchek asks, against David Felchek, he asks, "Hi, Casey. Love your show. In previous episodes, you said that your wife helps you with some of your designs." And he's asking, does your wife make artwork as well?
Yes, absolutely. A very different kind of artwork. My wife does, she's done so many things, actually. It's hard to, say this is specifically what she does, because she's been a painter, she's been, she illustrates, paints, she does all kinds of stuff. But her thing that she loves and that she's very passionate about, and we're trying to get her business up and running on the side of her full-time job, because my wife also runs and helps out at Sideshow. She runs a vegan cafe there and helps out with that. So she manages that cafe for Sideshow. It's like a really cool cafe that feeds everybody lunch and all that. Super awesome.
Delicious food.
Delicious food, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, amazing. And so she's busy with that. But on the side, my wife does furniture, and she takes vintage. She finds just old furniture people throw away or whatever. She recycles that furniture, fixes it up, whatever, and then she paints it up, and she does like this vintage. She has kind of a vintage gypsy-esque style way of like redoing the furniture. Like for instance, she did a table, and she had this round coffee table, or what I think you'd call it, a coffee table or something, or a stand, and she did her painting on it. So she not only like redid it vintage style, like wear and tear, and she does it like in different colors and stuff. She likes to do like vibrant colors. A lot of the vintage people that do furniture do like white and these standard colors. She does like very colorful stuff. But on the surface of the table, she painted this woman's face as part of a big moon, and it's, you know, like a half moon. It's a beautiful piece, and you can check out her stuff on Facebook, you know, if you want. She's what is it, Melissa Loves Art?
I think so.
Melissa Loves Art. She's gonna kill me. I don't know the name of my wife's freaking Facebook page. She's gonna kill me now. Hey, I'm dead. No, I just lost points. Anyway, yeah, Melissa Loves Art. Actually, you know what? You want to ask her?
Yeah.
Let's ask her, because I don't want to mess this up, man.
BRB.
BRB. Yeah, she does some cool stuff. And so yeah, she's an artist too, with me, but she does help me with mask ideas sometimes, or creature design ideas. You know, she's been very helpful just to help me brainstorm things, and to avoid those pitfalls of like, you know, a lot of us artists tend to do like the same stuff over and over again. Sometimes we don't even realize it. Like we come up with a good idea, and then we're like, oh, I gotta do this. This is cool. But then it's like, well, you really kind of already did that before. And she's always good about calling me out on that. You know, like, you kind of did that already. And so it's like, she keeps me in check, which is awesome. And then I'm even though when I disagree, I'm like, no, I no way, this is gonna be killer. You know what you're talking about. And then she's like, mm-hmm. And then, you know, I realize she's right.
Casey, if hopefully it's not too forward here, I just linked her Facebook page directly on the chat here.
Oh, rad.
You can see it.
Yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You can check out her furniture. She sells that furniture. She's got a whole bunch of it available if you need to decorate your house or something. Or
It's Instagram and Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook.
Melissa Loves Art.
Melissa Loves Art. There you go. So check her stuff out, man. We're really trying to push it and get her up and going with that stuff. She really loves doing it. It's a fun thing for her. And yeah, she just does some amazing stuff. Thanks for the question, by the way. I appreciate that. And we also, again, will do tonight at 7 o'clock, we'll do our annual, well, you know, around 7 o'clock or so, we'll do our annual tribute to...
Is it annual or is it nightly?
Or nightly. Sorry, not annual. What am I saying? Thanks for correcting me. Our nightly tribute to an artist. So each Monday night, we are going to pick an artist, you know, that we like and admire. And, you know, for me, it's usually a guy that's been a big influence on me or my work or whatever. And there's many. Oh my God, there's a laundry list. So to my artist friends out there, if you don't see me mentioning you on a stream, please just hang on, because I'm going to try to get to every one of you guys that has been an inspiration to me in one way or another, or you know, something of, even if it's an artist I don't know, but I love their art, I'm going to try and share it. And it could be 3D art or 2D art or, you know, all kinds of things, special effects, makeup artists, friends of mine. I'm going to get to everybody, you know, one way or another. But, you know, since it's just once a week, it's going to take a little time. So, but I don't want anybody to feel like they're going to get left out. I'm not going to leave anybody out, I promise. I'm going to try and hit every single person that I admire in one way or another. And since we have 22 episodes planned, we got 22 artists to share. That's pretty cool if you think about it.
It's going to get to a point where you're like, oh man, who do I show now?
Yeah, we'll just rehash. Then once we get through everybody, then we'll wind back around. But I don't think we'll ever run out, man. There's so many brilliant artists out there, you know. I mean,
I want to see more artworks by that the artist you showed, I think, in episode 1 with the swamp thing.
Bernie Wrightson.
Yes.
Yeah, Bernie Wrightson. Yeah, and dude, thank you for bringing that up because, you know, for those of you that missed episode 1 or 2, we shared several artists. So we shared Bernie Wrightson on episode 1. And then on episode 2, we shared Stephen West, which is a good friend of mine up north. He's an amazing sculptor and mold maker. So what I'm doing now, just in case you're wondering, is I have this what we call rake tool, and I know a lot of you sculptors know what I'm using. You're like, I know what that is. But for those that don't, it's a little sort of band saw blade where I've cut the teeth down, and there's little teeth on the saw. You can kind of see, and they're leaving these little marks behind that you'll see in the clay. And you'll notice, like when I'm working on a rounded area, like the back of this cranium here, the skull, you can see I'm kind of making little half circle shapes or little, I'm not kind of raking across the surface. This is a technique I've learned from many special effects artist friends of mine that do this, and they've shown me, throughout the years. I've learned this basically directly from the special effects industry, because when I first started with a rake, I was just, raking side to side, up and down, and that's not really how you want to use a rake tool. You want to, especially if you're trying to round something or round something out, you want to work in a circular motion, kind of little half shaped circles here. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not like you're really trying to make a circle, but little strokes that are almost half shapes rather than straight across dragging the tool. And it's going to look a little weird, like you see all these marks, but the good thing is you're really actually cleaning up the forms, the shape. You're refining that shape. That's what you're doing. So when you first start out with tools like this, you might be a little confused at what it's supposed to do, or may not know what you're doing, but then just play with it a little bit. You'll get the hang of it pretty quick. So it's great for muscles and defining the shapes. Now this Batman thing, it's got this strange anatomy. I'm going to be honest. It's not like your standard, I don't know anyone that looks exactly like this, but because I'm trying to make it freaky as well. Since it does have this sort of squatty penguin vibe, but he's very muscular, almost like a Simon Bisley piece of art or something like that, or Frazetta. It's, I'm trying to incorporate all those things together into one and make it look cool, yet still be, a Batman vampire. So I'm just going around and cleaning the muscles up. And Ryan, we could take another question now if you want. If we have
all
one.
right. Sounds great, Casey. We've got the Don Draven asks, how many hours would you say that you've sunk into this Batman so far?
That's a good question. Well, definitely every episode we've done, right? So that's 4 hours. And then when we first started the episode, if you go back to episode 1 and you look at where the sculpture started, that phase right there was, oh man, I would say I roughed out what I had was probably roughed out in an hour or so, because last December is when I sort of did that, and it was very quick, very, very quick, because I was really trying to get something out for Christmas time to fans that liked my work and people that wanted to get something new, but I just didn't have the free time, and I started it, as happens with some projects, you have ambition and then it falls to the wayside just because you have other commitments. So I never got back to it. So it just sat around, and when we started this stream, it was like, what do I want to work on? And it was like, I mentioned to my wife quickly, like, oh, that'd be a cool Batman, right? As a joke. And she's like, no, that would be cool. that'd actually be really neat. And I was like, really? And then that's how it all started. So I would say, to answer it specifically, since I've been working on this on the side, I do that late at night, just before bed. I'll do a few, like maybe an hour, maybe 2 if I'm lucky. So probably like 8 hours into it now. Yeah, that's a good all around 8 hours about so far. I'm not a super fast sculptor either. I have to be honest. I've never really been. I mean, I'm good. I'm fast at like roughing stuff out, but then I slow down quite heavily as I start to try to find the design, because sometimes things don't come out the right way right off the bat. Like for me, I struggle. I have to get it. I have to really search for it and play in the clay and move things around and try things and retry. I know a lot of sculptors, they can just bang out something right away and it's like, wow, it's like boom, there it is, amazing. And I do get those sparks sometimes, those moments sometimes. I've had it on some of my masks where the design will flash in my head, like a fully realized image, and I can just go sculpt it, or I can draw it really quick and then go sculpt it or whatever. I've had that, and those are amazing moments. But sometimes there's the other side where you have an idea, a vague idea, you're not really sure how it looks, and those are the moments where I have to really sort of find the design and just kind of rework the clay a few times to get something. So it's not always perfect and easy or whatever. Hopefully it's part of this is you guys will see, just my working process of how I get there. That's kind of the whole point. I can share with you along the way how I do it. And this rake is such a great tool. I mean, it takes just a little bit of clay off the surface. And there's some companies that make these rakes, really nice ones with the teeth already grinded down for you. In fact, my buddy Steve Wang has a tool set with a company that makes a rake just like it. So I just made this one myself. You can always make your own if you want, but you can also just buy them. And last week I mentioned a company that makes these really beautiful wooden tools, and I shouldn't have said what I said. I said I didn't think Walter was around anymore. Well, I called him and he had an answering machine.
He lives.
So I owe Walter a huge apology. I guess Perfect Touch Tools is here. I'll hold these here. Perfect Touch Tools is, I think, still in business. Which if you're looking for like the most amazing miniature tools for clay, like miniature wood tools, I can't tell you. I mean, they're not cheap, but man, they're worth it. I've had these tools since 2001. I've had these tools. I have broken a few, but and these two right here, I mean, actually I have another one that they're my favorites. Anyway.
I was in 5th grade when you bought those.
Oh my God.
So put that into perspective. Right?
That's it, I'm old. No wonder why my eye twitches and everything aches. What is happening? It's a good thing we started the stream, because by the time this thing's over, I'm going to be ancient. It's funny. I was talking to a good buddy of mine yesterday from the effects industry. You guys probably know who he is if you follow special effects. His name is Norman Cabrera. He's a good friend of mine. And we were laughing because we were talking. There's just, the older you get, and this is for you young sculptors, you're going to find this out. The days get shorter. the older you get. Like, they don't get longer. For some weird reason, time just isn't the same. And I find even, nowadays, it's like, I don't have enough time in the day anymore to do what I want to do. I can't seem to find the time, and it goes by in an instant, before the day's already over with. So we were laughing about it. It's kind of crazy how that starts to happen to you, and when you start noticing it as an artist, it sucks because you're just like, oh my God, I want to accomplish so much stuff, but I can't. I just don't have the time. When you're younger, it's like, oh my God, I got all the time in the world, I remember feeling that way. Like, I could accomplish so much in one day, I felt like invincible, but not anymore, man. It's not the same. I'd be curious to hear from others out there if they, artists, some older artists that maybe are with us on this stream, if they have the same thing, or am I just crazy? I don't know.
No, you're not. I sit down to work at 8. I blink, I'm at lunch. I blink, it's 3 o'clock. I blink, I'm done.
It's insane, man. It's just, yeah, it's crazy how time flies. And then you start wondering, how am I going to get all this stuff done? Yeah, it's not easy. I was thinking, too, it's so funny because I've been toying with the idea of a Patreon, for myself. And as much as I would love to do it, I mean, it's, from what I can tell, it's a ton of work. It's like a full-time job, and I already have a full-time job, so I don't need another full-time job. But it's like a full-time job all the time, every week, and you got to make sure you're on top of it. I don't know. I just don't think I could handle such a thing right now. And the focus is on this, YouTube channel thing. So I want to keep the energy running in here. Oh, so thank you. And so for you guys that have maybe just recently joined, we were talking a little earlier this evening about as we grow on this channel and we get more subscribers and we head towards hitting our first 1,000 subscribers, which we're heading that way, slowly but surely. We'll be there soon. Once we hit that, for you guys that weren't with us earlier, we are going to do a giveaway. And the giveaway will be these 4 busts, which will be fully painted by me. And we're going to do 10 sets of these, and we're going to give it away to 10 subscribers. 10 lucky subscribers will get a set of busts. So when we hit that 1,000 as a celebration, we'll be giving that back to you guys because we want to give something back for you guys being with us every Monday night, hanging with us, supporting the show, supporting what we're doing. So we thought, well, how can we give back? And so this is going to be one way right here. And, we'll do different giveaways at different times, but this is our first giveaway will be these busts. And these aren't painted, by the way. These are not what they'll look like. They'll come to you painted, signed by me. You'll get a set of 4. It'll be awesome. And you can hang them on your fridge or wherever you want. All right? Cool. All right, Ryan, how's it going in the chat there?
We've got some statements and questions here. We've got, do you mind if I throw a couple your way?
Let's do it, man. Let's keep it going.
All right, we've got Mikey Seaver's Spook Show. Want to take care of him. He had asked earlier, what's your opinion on poor texture on monster masks? And he says that, from his perspective, that he thinks a lot of us are knocking ourselves out to individually sculpt an entire head's worth of directional pores on every mask. And he's asking, is it worth it?
That's a really, really good question, man. Really good question. Thank you. Mikey, right?
Yeah, Mikey. Yeah, Mikey from Mikey Seaver's Spook Show.
Yeah, I'm familiar with some of his art too. I've seen his stuff. Yeah, great question, actually, man. Here's the thing. I mean, I can answer this many ways, but here's the real honest to God thing about it. I have seen sculptors sculpt the most mind-blowing pores you'll ever see. I mean, I'll tell you a little story. This is going to be a little long-winded, so bear with me, guys. Just listen in. I remember I was once at Spectral Motion, which is a special effects shop. I was visiting my friend Steve Wang, and across about 20 feet away from me, there was a sculpture. And it was cast in... Sorry, not a sculpture. There was a life cast. Okay? A life cast. Sitting 20 feet away from me. And it was of this real creepy, kind of goofy, silly... I don't know how to describe it exactly, but kind of a silly-esque old man... with very interesting features, and I was always fascinated by that kind of thing. Like, okay, wow, look at that guy's features. Look at that. That's amazing anatomy reference. And Steve was kind of giggling to himself, and Steve goes, "Oh, go look at it up close. Go check it out." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was kind of like, "What? Like, why?" And so I went over to it, and I look at this thing. And I'm like up this close to it, and I'm looking at the back neck and the wrinkles and all the folds and all the skin pores and everything, and I'm like, holy shit! I have to have I look at Steve. I go, who is this guy? I have to have a copy of his life cast. And Steve starts laughing. He is laughing, and he goes, "It's not a life cast, dude. It's a sculpture." And I'm like, what? Wait, what? Who sculpted this? Mitch Devane. So if you guys know who Mitch Devane is, Mitch Devane could sculpt people that look absolutely realistic. And I guess there was some backstory to it. I don't recall exactly what it was. Like there was some prank phone call backstory to this character or something like that. I forget the whole story. But it was blowing my mind. Now, there's that level where it's like so impressive that it's like, wow, you can fool people. And I've seen other sculptors accomplish such things. A buddy of mine, Joey Orozco, can sculpt like that. It's insane. So it's beautiful work, man, and it's awesome. But when, like what you're saying, masks, I don't think you need to go to that level. And I think that the one thing I can say is, as you know, it's all about the forms and the character and the expression and the design. It's great to have that level of finishing work, because I don't think it's good to also leave sculptures too rough. I mean, it's rough and gestural's fine, but for certain things. But when it comes to a mask, you're trying to make as clean, beautiful piece as possible, just like any sculpture, especially if you're going to go through the process of reproducing it and all that. But like for me, I just use a few texture stamps and and really, like, I use some of these. Pardon our dog, he's freaking out. So see these little rubber fingertips? I'll use like I have an old orange peel texture stamp I'll use sometimes, and I'll use this a lot. But one of the keys that I do when I use this tool is I then take and this is when the wet clay, I use wet clay, and when the wet clay becomes that kind of what people talk about, that leathery consistency where it's nice and firm, it almost just barely takes your fingerprint. So I start texturing it with this I'll do this over top of other textures or wrinkles or what have you. And then what I'll do is I take a black stipple sponge, and I'll massage the pores in the circular motion, and that softens them into the mask. And it's a technique I'll share with you guys once we get into the mask sculpting demos on this channel. I'll share that with you. And it's really effective, and it looks really nice. I've had other sculptors say to me, like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that texture stamp?" And it's like, well, it is a texture stamp, but I adjust it in a way, I have to explain it. And it works great, So you don't need to go super crazy on the pores. I mean, it's nice when it's done in a mask, but I've also seen amazing sculptures where they have no pores and they look amazing because the forms are so amazing and everything's so nice. and the character is so nice. So you don't necessarily need all that detail, you know. And there's also the other side of things where you overly detail stuff. I've seen mask guys or sculptors where they overly detail, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not like saying, oh, I don't do that. No, I've over detailed too much on a sculpture, and there's just not enough area of rest, or you know, for the eye, you know, things are just too busy. So you have to be careful sometimes about how much detail you add, and I think that has a lot to do with the, you know, getting all into micro detail like skin pores and stuff. So I try to add some, though. I do try to add some in there because it does. I like to, for the mask to feel as realistic as possible, but I don't always go super crazy with it. And I hope, I'm sorry, it's such a long-winded answer, but you know, I really wanted to talk about that story and share a little bit more. So I hope you guys are cool with that.
All right, that was awesome, Casey. Let's see here. We've got. David. He asked an interesting question here regarding the, the rake that you're using specifically. But he was asking, Casey, do you use guitar string rakes?
Yeah, you know, thanks for the question, first of all. Yeah, so back in the day, I used to use them a lot more than I do now. But I do still use them, you know. If there's a tight area I need to get into or something, I have a really small one. Here it is, right here. I can kind of show you. It's a really tiny guitar string rake, if we can sort of zoom into that. So it's a micro, and on the other side I just have a wire loop, and it's just in this sort of plastic tubing. But it's, you know, I can get really into tight forms with this, wrinkles and stuff like that. So I do sometimes use guitar string rakes. Super Sculpty, they work really good in Super Sculpty too. Because I actually, you know, one of the things, we're going to do a demo with Super Sculpty on this channel too, because we're working in Monster Clay right now, and Monster Clay is great. It's really speedy and you can do fast stuff. But I love Super Sculpty for a lot of different reasons. It's just such a different animal kind of to work in, a different clay. And the thing about it is you can get such beautiful wrinkles and stuff in it. And so I a lot of guys, you know, I'll push in the clay a lot too. Like, you know, you'll hear people say, well, you push more than you do, you know, anything else. You just kind of push the clay around. And that's true. But I also do rake Super Sculpty, actually, funny enough. I mean, I treat it like I treat any clay that I'm working in, and I've done that for years. I actually will rake it, rake Super Sculpty with different rake tools. So we'll get into that eventually. Okay. Anything else, Ryan?
All right, Casey, we'll throw this last one here for you.
Okay.
We've got Sean Balastri asks, do you ever texture wet clay with like a Ziploc bag or the, you know, the plastic wrap technique that we've seen?
I have, yeah. Rarely. When it comes to the masks, not so much. If I were working in a special effects shop and doing, say, a makeup on somebody, and you know, I had to kind of match their pore texture or whatever, or their wrinkle texture, then I would tend to use the plastic bag stuff with the different ounces of plastic bag. You can, you know, Mitch Devane, again, you know, he showed me some different plastic bags, as he'd shown and shared with everybody out there, really. Mitch is really the guy that, you know, invented a lot of the tools we use and came up with a lot of the different ways of texturing and doing some of this realistic stuff. He was really an inventor, as well as an amazing sculptor. I mean, still is, and you know, you could learn a ton from him. And so you know, if I was doing that kind of thing, yeah. But you know, when it comes to just my masks, in my sculptures, I don't get too carried away with it. I have done on Super Sculpty the trick where you poke the clay at an angle and you lift it and it leaves a little bump, and then you fill it with melted clay to leave goosebumps like on a neck or something. You can do that in Super Sculpey, and you can do it almost in any clay. It's often done in Chavant. I've even done it in wet clay. So again, those are techniques we'll get into, down the road as we get into different clays and different detail techniques and stuff like that. So yeah, the plastic bag thing is great because it just keeps everything very soft and subtle, so you're not having to do as much cleanup of those details and stuff down the road. But as far as me using it, I don't use it like as often as you might think. I kind of just like to work the clay as far as possible with just the tools I have, if that makes sense. And then, if it requires that kind of thing, I'll go into it. But yeah, that's a great trick. That's a great trick. Anything else, Ryan? How are we looking?
I've got a question here, Casey. I think you might enjoy this one. T10 asks, being as you work at Sideshow, do you ever find sculpting a chore?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I don't actually. I actually find that I'm maybe less burnt out when it comes to thinking about sculpting or doing some sculpting. I'm always pretty fresh and happy to do sculpting because working at Sideshow, it's all painting for me, everything is painting. So and that being the case, I don't get to sculpt. So when I do get to sculpt on my own stuff, it's a pleasure. It's like oh man, I miss this. But there, not to say there aren't moments where I'm just exhausted from the day and I don't have it in me to sculpt. I have those times where I'm just like, I can't right now. But no, usually when I do sit down to sculpt, like right now, I'm just having a blast just refining this thing and working on it, for you guys and just really enjoying it. I was looking forward to it all day today. So yeah, I don't really find it to be a chore. But that's not to say that I haven't had those moments. I think all sculptors have those moments. There's times where you're just like, just going to sit back and relax or watch a movie or something else, And that's okay. I don't think you don't have to, I think a lot of artists are real hard on themselves, especially the super dedicated ones, it's just really, it's easy to be hard on yourself. And I'm one of them that's guilty of that too. I mean, I used to be, and still am, kind of a workaholic, but I'm trying to let that be less of a concern and just try to spend more time with family and do other things and stuff because life is short, man, as we all know. I mean, life is short and it's okay. I used to worry about like making enough stuff and getting enough stuff out there and making all the masks I want to make in my lifetime and I still think about that from time to time, but you also realize that there's just other things you have to do in life as well. It can't all be just that, but dedication and all that is a big part of it. I mean, it's good to be dedicated and put the time in, but it's funny too. I've seen other younger sculptors too, like really take more time to go look at nature and just take things in, and I think that's good because it gives you a breather, refreshes you a little bit, and all that. So I'm probably going off track with this question, but oh, don't mess up his ear. I almost messed up his ear. Anyway, yeah, we're all human, so you're gonna go through struggles and whatnot, and times where you're not burnt out, and times you are, and it sucks when you are because you feel like you should be doing something, but you just have to learn to listen to your mind and your body and what it's telling you, and Sometimes you just need a break. So, and speaking of breaks, since we are at 7 o'clock and we want to try to stick to our schedule here, I'm going to just set this guy aside for two minutes here while we share some artwork from an artist who I've admired for many, many years. Many, many years. I first discovered his work, I want to say... I first discovered, although I had seen movies with his work, let me just say that. We all have seen movies with his work, actually. I didn't discover him that through movies because I just wasn't, aware of the name and the artist and the movies, right? But they're famous movies. And I'll get into that. But the artist for tonight, and I have a piece here from him that I think is quite amazing. And has an amazing imaginative design sense. And the artist is Tony McVeigh. Tony McVeigh is a phenomenal creature designer and has been for many years. And where I would first say I've seen his art without knowing it would be Star Wars movies, because he goes all the way back to the early Star Wars films. So anything to do with Lucasfilm, he's been a part of a lot of that stuff. I don't know all the specific movies he's been a part of, but I know Star Wars has been a big part of his career. The old movies and the remakes, or the not remakes, sorry, the prequels, and then I think even the later stuff. One of his famous creations is Salacious Crumb from Jabba the Hutt, the little, little creepy guy. So, and when you see that and you see this, you can almost tell it's the same sculptor, his style. What I love about Tony's stuff is he's really into anatomy and dinosaurs. I know he loves paleo stuff. I know he's got a big fascination with that, and he seems to bring that across into a lot of his monster designs. I know he loves King Kong and things like that. But his work has always fascinated me. Not just the anatomy, the movement and the imagination that he seems to come up with. But you feel the weight and the movement going on here, and it's incredible. And then you can kind of see a little bit of a simian apish vibe to this thing. This is one of my favorite sculpts from Tony because it encompasses character, amazing character design, movement, good anatomy, great, amazing dinosaur texture. It's got everything, in my opinion, that makes a great design, and interesting and weird. He's got these weird little creepy, useless feet nubbies here, which is like, whoa, where did you come up with that? It's just so interesting. I know this design originally had a shorter tail thing, but then he added on this weird claw later, and anyway, so he kind of, I guess, improved it probably in his opinion, but the original design was just fine as is, I think. But this is awesome. I don't know if this is sold anymore. I forget, and I apologize. I forget what the name was. I think it was based on. I think he called it the ID Monster and it was like his take on the ID Monster. Because you don't really see that monster in the movie, and it's kind of invisible. But he kind of did this take on it, and it's amazing. So Tony's work is vast. I mean, it's dinosaurs and Star Wars stuff and all kinds of different things. He even did a whole bunch of maquettes for one of the Beowulf films, the Beowulf, where they did it as like a kind of live anime, or not anime, sorry, live action CGI. Sorry,
Angelina Jolie. Is,
yes.
The mom, right?
Yeah. So Tony, if you look it up, he did all these really awesome, sort of painful maquettes and things of the creature, and you can see all that stuff he shared. It. Check out his Facebook page, Tony McVeigh. Look him up. He used to have a company, and he might still. I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, but Menagerie Productions. He might still have a website, and from time to time he'll sell model kits like this, of his work. and that's what I was gonna say earlier. Where I first really discovered Tony's work was model kits. There was a magazine called Amazing Figure Modeler, and one called Modeler's Resource. Sorry, I'm trying to get my brain working. And I discovered his work there, as well as the old Creature Feature shop in Burbank when it used to be on Olive. But anyway, amazing stuff. So check out Tony McVeigh. And here's a thank you to Tony for all the years of inspiration and imagination, and for sharing his art with us and doing his thing. I mean, I have a number of pieces from him. I love every one of them, and I hang on to them because I love them so much. And hopefully one day I'll paint this thing. All right. So that's our artist share for tonight. And next week we will get into somebody else. Who knows? I just randomly pick artists. Like I said to all my artist friends out there, I'll get around to sharing something of everybody eventually. That's the goal. There's so many artists I'm dying to get to, and I want to share with you guys. Some are illustrators, some are 3D sculptors, So we will try to share as many of them as possible. All right. So primarily tonight, you'll see I'm mostly using this rake tool to refine my sculpture, and so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll refine it with a rake tool like this, so I can really start to read the forms and the shapes better. It kind of helps you to see the shapes a little bit better, and then I can start picking away and reworking some things and adjusting and things like that. I added a much broader or a longer chin as well. That was something else I noticed. I was like, once I put the teeth in, I pushed the teeth out. He really had no chin anymore, so I went in and started tweaking with that. And here, actually, I'm using that little guitar string tool now here that we talked about earlier. I'm one of those sculptors too. I'm sure you guys run into this. Like, if the tool's not in front of you, you're not going to use it. And then, like tonight, someone said guitar string, so I pulled it out, and here I am using it now. Like, oh yeah, it's a cool tool. This works great. So, if you're like me, you have a ton of tools, and you really only use one or two. I mean, for these streams, I think I've mostly sculpted this whole thing with the spoon tool here, and now I'm breaking off into some other things. And when you're first, roughing out sculptures too, I think it's mostly important just to use your fingers as much as possible. Those are always your best tools for sure. And I'm sure you guys have heard that from other sculptors. Preach that. It's very true. Your best tools are your fingers, your hands, and then once you need to get to that more refining stage, you can break it down into other tools. Start implementing using tools. But I would say when you're first starting to sculpt something, try to just use your hands and your get as far as you can with your hands before you start jumping into tools. And with that, Ryan, if we have any questions, we can get into more, since I'm just jamming here.
We'll do, Casey. We've got a great one here that I think might bring a smile to your face here. We've got Montoya Creature Designs.
Okay.
He says, "Hi, Casey. Love the show. Can't wait for a Super Sculpey demo. You were the one that introduced him to Super Sculpey about 7 years ago, and he's saying that he hasn't stopped using this medium ever since, and wanted to just say thank you."
Oh, awesome. Thank you for checking out the show, and thank you for that, man. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad that you have found such a fond clay to work in, and something that you really enjoy, because that medium it's not an easy one to grasp. It is a little tougher to get the hang of. I mean, it's like working in bubble gum, as some people will describe it. But once you break through that learning curve of working in it, it's an amazing clay. I mean, there's a friend of mine that just absolutely does amazing life-size Super Sculpey stuff, Tom Kubler. And, you can do... just seeing what he does is mind-blowing. But, I mean, there's many sculptors out there that love the clay. And once you get the hang of it, you'll never stop. Like you're saying, it's just so awesome. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, from Montoya Creature Design.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Montoya, thank you for that message, man. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad that you're enjoying Super Sculpey. It's a really great clay to work in. Alrighty. And anything else, Ryan? We got...
Here we go, Casey. I'm going to take two here, statements more or less, or questions and kind of combine the two. But from Joseph Workman, he states that, hey, Casey, you should do a Predator paint session.
Of course he would say that. Of course. And just so you guys know, I spoke with Joseph today. Yeah, And so that's why he's on here, and he's probably poking at me a little. Like, yeah, I'll give him something to do here. Get to work, paint a... Yeah, because he realizes that, painting a Predator is a ton of work. And so that's funny. But hey, you never know, right? I mean, maybe at some point I'll pull out down the road one of my awesome Naren model kit, Predator model kits, and just do a demo of Predator skin for people or something. I don't know. So we'll see. And listen, the Predator thing, you really just have to give thanks to the man that invented and designed that paint job, which is Steve Wang. As we all know, Steve Wang is the man with the Predator stuff. He designed that paint job in a very quick time frame back when the movie was being made at Stan Winston Studios. And it was a game changer. Really, it was a game changer when it comes to the painting creatures and stuff. All the layers and everything, and Steve has shared with me over the years, like the exact layers, like how he broke that down and what colors and whatnot. So, if we're talking about the original one, of course, the Predator one, P1 as they call it, P1. But and then there's the fun of like what you can do where you just make it up yourself. You just kind of. You take the inspiration of the original and then just use your own colors and your patterns and make your own Predator paint job. That's always fun too. But I don't know that we'll be getting to that anytime like real soon.
Yeah, we have 22 shows planned.
Yeah, we have 22 shows kind of planned, and we got to get through those. But hey, it is something that I'm not totally opposed to, and I've done Predator demo paint jobs before for people, so it's certainly something we could think about doing on this stream at some point for all you Predator fans. Dun, 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 dun. I shouldn't do that. We're gonna right. You can't do any.
You're fine.
We have to remember YouTube's. You gotta be careful what you can't sing like songs from bands on YouTube and.
Sing on key and you're
what do they? So what do they? Yeah, if you sing on key, you're good. What do? They demonetize you or something?
No, it depends on how it just kind of depends.
Okay, I'm new to all this YouTube stuff, so that's why Sam's here, man, and Ryan, because Sam does it every day. He knows. So
I know on Twitch what they do is in your VOD they will find the moment where you're playing the music. They'll kind of scan backwards and forwards, and they'll just mute all the audio. You can still see visual,
right.
But you won't hear anything.
I think that's what Facebook does too.
Yeah.
You know what they should do? Twitch, YouTube, everybody. You should just, since you recognize that the person is singing a licensed song or whatever it is, you should just fill in that part with credit of the song. And then you don't have to mute them. You could just be like, yeah, and then here's the song and here's the credit, and everybody's happy.
Some companies actually do an offshoot of that.
Do they?
So
Yeah, that seems like the way to go, right?
Hey, Casey, when you want music, we got you covered, man. We'll make it for you, and it'll be yours.
Just make it thrash. No. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we got that one out of the way. What else we got, Ryan? Throw them at me, man. Throw them at me.
Alrighty. We've got winding down the questions. I'll throw the statement out here that Andrea has been with us a couple episodes now, but Andrea Hernandez says, "Thank you so much. This is great. Looking forward to seeing all 22 episodes."
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, man. We really, really appreciate
there
it.
might be more than 22.
Yeah, that's the other thing, by the way. It's not just 22. I should clarify. I made it sound like, oh, we're doing 22, and then they go. No, for now, for the time being, the ones we have planned out that we've thought like, oh, these would be great episodes for people. It adds up to about 22. But that's not where we're going to stop. Just so you guys know, like we plan to take this as far as we can take it, as long as we can take it. So if you guys are here with us, and we're building this family, like I said, we're just going to keep going. We'll keep it going. So this is not, who knows? This could go for years. I don't know. We'll have to see. But we would love to do that. And I would love to do that. So tell all your friends. Check out caseylove. Monster, I can't even think of my own show name. Monday Night Monster Jam. Tell them to check that out. And, again, little reminder about as we build our audience here, which we already greatly appreciate you guys that are with us now and coming to every show. But as we build, we're planning the giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that number, we're going to do 10 giveaways of the magnets here, and so we'll show them one more time, and we're going to do these guys. We're going to do 10 sets of these all painted up, and I'll paint them up and sign them and maybe throw the magnet on there or whatever so you guys can display them. And again, these aren't the painted versions here, these are just blank castings, but we will do 10 sets and give them away to 10 lucky people for our first giveaway once we hit that 1,000 subscribers mark. So,
let's get there.
Yeah, let's get there. Don't miss out. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma. She should be watching. She'll be like, "What the heck is this? What is this I'm watching?"
It's like devil stuff.
Yeah. Monsters, no. Anyway, tell anyone you can get, and we'd be happy to have them and have them be a part of the family here. And we'll be doing this giveaway, and hopefully you'll be one of the lucky winners. If not, we have more giveaways planned, and we're trying to figure all that out now. So, all right. Okay, back to Batman, Penguin, Monster, Vampire mashup. What's the penguin's noise?
Yeah.
Let's see, I want to get a little more here. Dun-dun. And Ryan, if you've got any other last questions, or we can just get to those too.
All right, Casey, we've got. I'd set this one aside. Magneto Creations asks, when you're working on your own paint work, do you have a set concept or art direction like you would at Sideshow, or do you tend to just freestyle your own on the fly?
Okay, so he's referring to the Sideshow work or my own personal work?
I think your personal work. I think he's more or less asking that we're at Sideshow where you likely have a concept pretty much set in stone, more or less, by his assessment. But is asking with your own work, do you just do it? Do you kind of work on the design? Do you stick to a concept, or do you kind of freehand it on the fly?
Okay, good question. Thank you for the question, by the way. Painting. Okay, this is a great question, actually. Let me get into this. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a thing here. Just bear with me. I'm one of those sculptors, and I believe many others are as well. that paint their own stuff, like sculptors that actually paint their own things, which is most of us nowadays, whether it's digital or traditional or whatever. To me, and I've said this and I preach this to everyone I know, and I know other artists that preach the same thing, really, honestly. And painting is like, okay, so this sculpture here, for example. When I'm finished with this sculpture, for me, that's the halfway point. Okay, that's like, I'm not done. That's just the halfway point. The other half of this thing is the paint job. And to me, it's important that not only the sculpture be good, but the paint be good, and that the paint is the other half of the design. That it's like a 50-50 if you split it in half, right? Sculpture's half, paint's half. In my mind, that's just how it is. There's no if, and, or but about that. So yeah, what he's asking, when I design a paint job, it's really important to me, especially on my own work. And I'm not excluding Sideshow on this. Sideshow takes a great deal of time to figure out what the paint job should be too. But when it comes to my work specifically, it has to feel right. Sometimes I know the paint job. Like sometimes I know right away, seeing the character, this is what it's going to be painted like. It's going to be fleshy. It's going to have these apey spots. It's going to have this red eyes. It's going to be infested. It's going to be whatever. And what I can't stress enough to you guys is the way I find those things, the way I get into figuring that stuff out is through storytelling. I've heard some great artists say this. You have to be a storyteller as well. Sculpting is not just sculpting monsters to have fun, but it's also storytelling. If you start to create with your imagination, you start asking yourself questions during the sculpting phase, during the all of the sculpting phase, all of the painting phase. The more questions you start asking yourself about the character you're designing, the more you're going to find the character itself, and the more you're going to find answers to the questions you're looking for. Like, what color is this thing? Why is it this color? Where does it live? What does it do? So it's not just about sculpting to sculpt something and paint to paint something, and because I've seen that too, and that's happened to me, where you just get locked into the same paint job all the time. So find those imaginative paint jobs, imaginative characters in sculpting. You have to start storytelling within your own mind, asking yourself questions about, what is the character about? Like this character, obviously, it's great because we have something that I keep referring to as a joke, but it's actually true. It's like Penguin, Batman mashed with vampire. So with that, I can feel the character, what he would sound like, what he would look like, what's he do, that kind of stuff. And of course, the whole idea behind this, which is going to be part of the storytelling, is once this arm is on there and he's holding this vampire bat hanging from his fingers and looking at it, kind of intrigued by it, it'll start to tell the story right away to the viewer. So then comes the paint job, and the paint job to me is just as important as much time as I spend in the sculpture. The paint job is equally as important every time. Whether I'm working for Sideshow, whether I'm working on my own thing, it's important that the paint job be good and as best as it can be, and make the sculpture come to life as much as possible. And when it comes to my own art, like the masks, that's where I just get to have my own fun, design it myself, and figure that stuff out. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, there's times where I struggle badly with that. Like, it's not always perfect. Like, bam, boom, I know, oh, this is the paint job. Yeah, this is what it's going to be. I know it. I have those moments, but just like the sculpting, like I talked about earlier, I have the moments where I have no freaking clue. I could think of 5 paint jobs that could be on that creature design, that mask or that whatever it is, the maquette. So, and I've had it where I'm leading up to a Monsterpalooza show. It's days away, and I still haven't figured out a freaking paint job on a mask, and I'm like lost. I can't figure it out, and it's got to be good, and it can't just be anything. And oh man, it's stress time at that point. I get very, and the more you get stressed out, then the less creative you become. So the lesson there is give yourself time, obviously, but and I never did. I always was cranking away at the last minute on everything, so that's my fault. But yeah, painting is so important. And one thing I really want to strive for is, and this is not at all a knock against sculptors of any kind out there, whether, whatever they work for. But I do notice this trend, and have noticed it for a long time. And I understand why. I'm a sculptor myself. I get it. But it's a trend where sculptors tend to get most of the credit, for what they do. And I get it. Sculpting's it's fascinating. It's neat. You're creating this 3D object, this character from life, whether it's a superhero of a monster, whatever. But I often see painters not get as much credit and recognition. And man, it's really not a fair thing. Painters deserve as much credit because that's half that design in the end, And so I really hope that people start to pay more attention to what painters are doing for what companies or whoever, because I think it's really important, It's not just somebody back there throwing color on something to throw color on something. There's a lot that goes into it. Painting pieces is very time consuming and a big part of the design. So there you go. And, sorry, it's a little long-winded, but I really wanted to get all that out to everybody. That's my feeling on it. Hopefully you guys, have similar feelings about that. I think it's very important. And, and on the other side of the fence, there's everybody else in the middle that's important. The mold makers, the casters, the seamers, the whatever, hair, if you're talking about special effects, hair people. Everybody, that does work to make something come to life, They all deserve credit. All right. Now that was long-winded for that question, and I know I get carried away, you guys, with these questions, and I go into these big long things. So I hope you enjoy them. I'm not trying to bore you here, but I love to talk about this stuff, and because I live in it, and so it's fascinating to me, and so yeah, I can get a little bit into it.
Casey, it's great, man. I think that in-depth passion and knowledge is why a lot of folks are here.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope so. I hope they're enjoying it. And so yeah, I'm just kind of figuring, here I'm just playing around with, again, as I go around and look, I'll pick away at things like you saw me earlier, just digging away here to kind of bring out the bridge of that nose. You're kind of like looking for flat areas. That's kind of what I'm doing, is looking for areas that feel flat or don't feel like there's enough of interesting form or something going on. And again, this is something you'll learn from more professional artists that that have been doing it a long time. They can look at their sculpture, stand back, and be objective to it, and decide, okay, this needs more, that needs more, and that's an always lifelong pursuing thing that you need to work towards. And I still work towards it myself. So. And yeah, thanks again, everybody, for these awesome questions. I mean, man, there's been some really awesome questions tonight, and I appreciate them. Really, I think it helps make the show more interesting, in my opinion. I think it really keeps it going, and man, they've been hitting me with some good ones tonight, Ryan. We've got some great questions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Casey, I'm going to sneak this one in if you don't mind. I think it's a great one regarding the work you're doing now. Matt McNeil asks, now that you've been working on this guy, this particular Batman sculpture, are you heating the monster clay for each session? Or will you body heat, or will your own body heat, or let's say your finger heat do the trick?
Well, as I'm talking to you guys, I have this little piece in my hand just in case I need a piece of clay real quick. But yes, I did heat a big batch in the bucket here that I've got, over here. You can see it's really soft and still warm. I only did it for 4 minutes in the microwave, and it's just perfect and ready to go. if I need it, you know. And I mean, right now I don't need a lot of clay because it's all refining. But I have this little guy here in my hand. So to answer your question, Matt, and thank you for the question, and thank you for being here every week. I appreciate your support. For you guys that don't know who Matt is on Facebook. He does amazing tribute busts to 80s horror characters. And I'm not trying to define him into one thing because maybe he'll do other things down the road. But right now, lately, he's been doing these 80s horror, you know, Fright Night characters that are just absolutely fantastic. And he lives not too far from me, so we get to see each other every once in a while. In fact, I owe him a visit to his shop. But he's nice, real nice guy, very sharing of what he's doing with all his fans and people on Facebook. He shares all his process, and I think that's amazing. So, yeah, give Matt a follow as well if you get the chance. Go check out what he's doing. It's pretty awesome stuff, especially if you're like me and you're a major 80s horror fan. You know, you love Fright Night and vampire movies like I do. Well, you got to check out his stuff.
Give us a follow too. Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah. We appreciate it as well. If you can follow us, give us a like, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It helps us out, keeps us going. It's tremendous too. I mean, it really does. Every person we get, I see them, you know, join, and I tried to answer all the comments on YouTube. If you leave me a comment, I will definitely get to it and answer it. So if you have questions that come up, you know, that are not during the stream and you just want to pick my brain or something, you know, hit me up on there. And, you know, we've talked about a little bit about making eventually doing like a Facebook page for this live stream. And I'm sure we'll get there. I just feel like, you know, since we just started, you know, let's build this up a little bit, and then we'll add that feature for sure. And that'll be a place where we can get into, you guys can share your work, what you're doing. And, you know, I want to give a special thanks to a board that already exists on Facebook doing this very thing. And I think it's an important one because they've been doing it for so long, passionately, even prior to social media, this existed. And these guys have endlessly, these two brothers have passionately been doing this for ages, and that's the Shiflett brothers. If you're not familiar with the Shiflett brothers, go to their Facebook forum, the Shiflett Brothers Sculpting Forum. It's an amazing place for sculptors to share, traditional and digital sculptors to share their work. And I really want to thank the Shiflett brothers because they've been also supporting what I'm doing with this and mentioning it during, you know, the day of the show, sharing and all that. And so I thank them for their help and their support. But that's a great place to go if you're a sculptor and you want to be a part of a community of like-minded people. Man, you got to check that out. But yeah, if you guys are, you know, like and subscribe what we're doing, and we'll keep it coming each and every Monday. So I just make little worms of clay here and just add them in, you know, and then go in and push it around. And sometimes you just need to build something up, or, you know, round something out a little more. You know, these neck wrinkles, I'm like, okay, let me build up a little flat spot that I see, you know, and as he's cranking his neck to the side, maybe there's some pulling or stretching of the skin. And eventually, you know, I got to get into that over top of this creepy body. You know, I'm going to have to start adding like that there's some sort of stretched suit, Batman suit, and a cape. You know, part of his cape and stuff. So, and there's a lot more to do. But right now, I just want to really get all the structures in and make it all look as cool as I can. And then I can go do all that fun other stuff. for you new sculptors, if you're just starting out, I would really encourage that you take your time. Take your time with what you're doing. Don't rush. It's okay if a sculpture takes 40, 50, 60 hours. It's fine. Make it as cool as you can make it. And, eventually you need to move on, of course. But when you start out, try to learn as much as you can from that sculpture, the process, and because the more you do that and apply that down the road, the better and more well-rounded sculptor that you're going to be.
Do you know of any sculptors who have like a particular piece that they just modify throughout their entire career? Like they'll just go back and visit and like touch up on or something like that, or
like a piece that so they did it and then they go back and just rework it a little bit more again, and not that I can like think of offhand. I'm sure sculptors have. I've even gone back and redone pieces, but what's funny is I've done it from scratch. Like I go, okay, I really liked that design I did 8-9 years ago, but I can improve it and I know how. And then let me do. In fact, there was one I did of a two-headed thing, and I did a mini bust of it and redid it, and I renamed it too. By the way, that's another great thing about redoing sculptures. You can go back and realize that the name you originally gave it, how crappy it was, or stupid and silly, and then you're like, let me give it a good name this time. So that's fun too, because you can get rid of the embarrassing name you gave it originally. So there's all the perks to redoing stuff. But no, I don't know, and I'm not saying there aren't. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are sculptors out there that maybe sit on something for years and just refine, and there's got to be. I just don't know of any offhand that are coming to mind. If any of you guys out there do, chime in, One thing I can say about mask sculpting for you mask guys, there's always the questions I get about wet clay, which is a water-based clay, and how long can it survive, and how do you make it survive, and all that. And we'll get more in depth into that once we get into that kind of a demo. But the real trick to that is just simple. It's just bag it really well with one or two good bags, plastic bags, and lightly spray it down every time after you work on it. And you can make sculptures last. God, I've heard of guys making stuff last for a year, man, for like 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. I've done it. I've made sculptures last forever. In fact, I recently had a buddy help me save a sculpture in wet clay, and thank you, Noah Rivers. And that's the thing. You can, even though it's water-based clay and it does dry out, you can slow that process down. And I've seen guys revive wet clay that's like really hard clay that's hardened up, and they've revived it because it, with just watering it and taking care of it kind of like a plant.
There's actually a question in YouTube about wet clay from Ashley Bosworth.
Oh, is there?
They say, hi, just joined recently, but if you eventually do a wet clay lesson down the line, I would love that. I mostly work with Chavant, so wet is a bit of a learning curve for me.
Okay.
Thank you. Smiley face.
Yes, Ashley, you said?
Ashley Bosworth.
Ashley Bosworth. Yes, we will be doing a wet clay demo. I have a mask commission that I need to sculpt. It's actually a werewolf, which is really cool. And we're gonna do that on the stream. We're gonna work on it for a couple hours on the stream over several weeks. It's one of the upcoming shows we're gonna do, so you'll definitely want to tune in to that, because there will be a lot to learn from that stream. So you can see here, I'm just playing with the expression, which would be under the cowl and whatnot, and so I'm just playing around, just picking away at this thing. That's what I tend to do, is pick away until I see what I like. one thing about working on this, it's made me want to eventually do, and I have come up with something in mind, a full figure vampire Batman sculpture. Now that I'm doing this one, I really want to do a full figure. I did one years and years and years ago. I mean, many moons ago. But I want to do something very different than that one from what I did before. I kind of have an idea of him, and we've all seen this in the comics, up on a cemetery, in a cemetery up on a kind of a tombstone of some sort, just hanging over it with very long vampire arms and creepy, kind of in the moonlight. I'd love to do something like that eventually. And it's funny because I need to practice more in ZBrush actually, so I might just do it in ZBrush just to practice more full figure sculpture. That's a weak point for me, is the digital. I can sculpt in ZBrush, but I haven't gotten to where I'm super comfortable just doing like full figures and stuff, so I need to work towards that. So it might be one for that. Ryan, you've been awfully quiet, my friend. What is going on in your neck of the woods?
All right, Casey, we've got, love the name here. We've got I'm Not Vintage, I'm Grumpy.
Awesome.
And this user asks, he asks, can you mix different grades of monster clay?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Great question, by the way. Thank you for that. You can. I've done it before. So a lot of people do feel that this is the I'm working in the standard medium grade right now. And although it's nice and firm, a lot of little tips like this, like the ears, I could just bend them very easy. And a lot of people still feel that it's a little too soft. In fact, to tell you the truth, I'm going to hollow this arm out here, because if you see me put this arm on, right, what happens? What? Oh, okay, now it's not going to happen. Oh, there it goes. See, he's going to mess with me on camera. Like, oh, I'm not going to do what you say. But yeah, eventually, like, this thing will just bend and give away, and it won't hold. So one of the things I'm going to do eventually is take gray hard monster clay, and I'm going to hollow out this hole and pour, hot, hard monster clay, because the hard monster clay is very good, and that'll hold a little better for the purposes that I need it to do. But yes, you can take medium and hard and mix it together. Now, my recommendation to you is don't just take two big batch buckets like this, and mix them together. Like don't take a medium and a hard and just mix it all together, and then that's going to be your clay and hope it works. My recommendation is take a little bit out of equal parts, like a little ball like this, pretend this is side A and side B, hard and medium, and mix it together and blend it real well, and then play with that and see if you like the consistency. If you go, oh, you know what, it's a little too hard, then to back off on how much of the hard you want to add, or the soft, or the soft, whatever, so you can adjust it. Because I have found, for me personally, if I were to want a harder, firmer clay than the medium, what I would tend to do, now this is nice and warm here in my hand, but what I tend to do is I would mix about, if I had, let's say, a brand new batch of medium here, I would probably add about 25% hard clay to the medium. So 100% medium, 25% hard, and that right there will give you a much harder clay already, because the hard grade is very hard. You can hold it in your hand and handle it, whereas like this stuff, if you handle it in your hand, it will get soft and heat. It's very heat sensitive. So yeah, I say, play around with try it out, just mix a couple different things together and see what you like, and then from there you can kind of figure out the ratio how you want to break it down, or how much of which side you want to melt down and join it with the other or whatever, and find the right consistency you're looking for. But very much a trial error kind of thing. I suppose if you wanted, you could even mix the brown with the gray. I don't know why you'd want to. Maybe it would give you an interesting color because they make the brown monster clay and the gray. I would just mix the same color together personally, but I suppose if you were short on supply and you only had 2 colors or whatever, you could do it. And when we get into Super Sculpey and stuff, I'll share some tips with you about how to firm that clay up, because you can firm it up, and mixing other clays into it, other polymer clays, and we'll get into what coloring it, like a specific color, or just using it as is. Sometimes I just use it as is. It just depends on what I'm doing, what my mood is. All right. So anything else hanging out, Ryan, on questions?
Oh, absolutely, Casey. We've got user Barbarian. Says, hi, I'm from France, Casey. I remember discovering your work around 12 years ago when I was looking for your Barbarian kit that I've never found, by the way. Really love your work, and thanks for the stream.
My Barbarian kit? That's an oldie, man.
Man, yeah, that goes beyond my recollection of your early work, Casey. I don't recall that one.
I believe it was called Volgar the Barbarian or something like that. I did, like he's holding 2 axes. Is that the one? Because actually I have molds of it here. So I could actually cast him one if he wanted to buy one. Yeah, I do have good molds of it still lying around. If that's the one he's talking about. I think it is. I remember, it's funny. That it brings back memories. I remember when I sculpted that thing thinking it was so great and amazing, and I'm not trying to downplay it at all, man. It's one of the only Barbarian things I've ever done. That's another thing, like eventually I got to go back and one day do another Barbarian or Viking or something. But it's an older piece, and when you go back, you grow as an artist. You go back and look at your work. It's not to knock my work or any other artist's work, but you go back and look, and you've grown so much. You see your mistakes. You see where you've grown and where you can learn from. So that's one of those. I go back and look at it, and I remember when I first finished it, how proud I was of it. But now, I see it and I go, yeah, there's some room to improve there for sure. So, but yeah, I do still have molds of that model kit, so that are in good shape. So if he really wanted one, I could cast one up for him.
Yeah, Barbarian saying, yeah, the Conan with a horned helmet.
Yeah, he had a horned helmet, and he had a base with some heads in like a sack, and he had 2 axes, and yeah. So if he's still looking for it or wants one, just private message me on Facebook or Instagram, and we can work it out from there.
Or leave a comment on YouTube.
Yeah. I always forget, like that's a good source.
So many avenues to get a hold of people. It's great.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. I always crack up when people can't seem to find how to get a hold of someone these days. Like, how many ways can you get a hold of someone these days? Like, so many social media, telephone, so many different websites. Yeah. If only we had some technology. And thanks again, guys, and girls and everybody out there for joining in tonight and supporting the stream. We appreciate it. Ryan, Sam, myself, we really appreciate your guys' support and for being here with us and spending your Monday night with us. It's been super fun. We cannot wait for all these episodes we want to do coming up, and we will keep them rocking solidly for you. And you guys just keep coming and hanging out with us, and we'll keep entertaining you as much as we can. Don't look at the back, it's not. Yeah, actually, the back I got to figure out. I mean, I'm probably gonna cut it off here or something. I don't know, or I may end up sculpting the back. I don't know. You know, I really don't know at this point. So we'll see
What
where.
if you bulked out his back and he's just got like this bulky front and a bulky back?
Yeah, bulky back. He's like two big, huge masses. But I do definitely see like. And it's like a cape, and you know it sucks about the cape. I mean, the cape. The cool thing is it's Batman, so I feel like he has to have some kind of cape, and I might have to get sort of creative with how his cape should be because I don't feel like I need to necessarily stick to the standard. Because one thing I hate to do is cover up this cool, you know, anatomy in the neck and everything, like the cool striations that help give the character this look, you know. So maybe it'll be something of my own design, or I don't know. I gotta think about that. That's another thing. I got to figure out the design, you know, because I really don't know right now. I just know, you know, he should have a cape, but I just don't know how that's gonna look. So it'll take some messing around to figure out. What time are we at now?
We're about 7:53.
Okay. So this is our, you know, wind down 10 minutes here where we're going to wind down. And, you know, I'd like to not only say thank you again to all of you guys. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, and you can catch me on many different social media outlets, you know, not only just YouTube, but my Instagram page. I have 2 Instagram pages. I have one for my personal art, which is caseylove designs on Instagram. And I have a second page called caseylove paintworks, where I share all the paintwork that I do for companies like Sideshow and collectible companies. Well, mainly Sideshow, because that's the company I work for. But yeah, I share all the statues and stuff on caseylove paintworks. And you can also get me on Facebook, which is just caseylove. And I also have, obviously, the YouTube channel, caseylove monsters. And I'm even on, what's that one platform all the kids are on? That's how old I am now.
TikTok? Or?
TikTok. I'm on TikTok. What is my TikTok, by the way? I don't even know. Isn't that awesome?
Casey loves talking.
That's how much.
Boom.
That's how much I go to TikTok. Oh, look, we got something on TikTok already. So Casey Love Monsters. There you go. At Casey Love Monsters. Duh. I don't even know my own TikTok. That tells you I don't go to TikTok at all. I post a little bit though, and I'm trying to be better about that. Because it's all videos and stuff. So you know, I promise you won't see any twerking videos from me or you know nonsense like that on TikTok. I'm trying to just post like there's some mold making and casting and some different things that you know I kind of enjoy showing people the process, trying to make it fun. So those are all my social media outlets, and then of course the big granddaddy is my website, which is caseylovemonsters.com. So you can find product.
You mean this website?
What's that?
I actually got it pulled up right there.
Yeah, that's the website. There we go. See, Sam is on it, man. You mean this one? So that's where if you know you want to buy some art or just video. I have videos you can buy and download that we send you, and you know, masks and model kits and you know all that kind of stuff. You can find it there if you're interested. And Ryan, since we're winding down the last few minutes, if there are any other questions, let's try to bang them out real quick here. I'll try and keep them nice and short, I promise.
All right, here we go. We got another great one from Matt McNeil once again. And he asks, are you partial to the gray and not the brown monster clay? Is it an arbitrary choice, or do you prefer the gray for a specific reason?
I originally started with the brown because that's what was available originally. And then once Arnold Goldman, who is the owner of Monster Makers and Monster Clay and all that, once he did a gray version, and I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I gotta have some of that, Arnold. And he was kind enough to send me this stuff, and I promised him I would do something in it, and that took a lot longer than it was supposed to. But here we are, and as I promised him I would do something in it, and here we are. And yeah, ever since I started working with the gray, I would say I do like the gray better than the brown. Now, I have heard people say that they think it's softer than the brown, but I don't think so. I feel like this is identically the same as the brown medium and the gray medium. I think they're the same. I don't think there's any difference at all other than the color. And what's interesting about this clay, and I don't want to say this to throw anybody off, but because there's so much wax in this clay, there's kind of a ever so slightly translucent, waxy look to it that reminds me of Sculpey somehow. It's not translucent though. It's not like, don't get that wrong. It's not like, oh, you can't see the forms. I mean, you can see the forms beautifully in the clay. So I want to throw that out cautiously, but yeah, in person, because I know on camera things look different. But yeah, I really like the gray tone that they chose to go with. So yeah, I like the gray better. But the brown was fine, if you're used to the brown. It's like a cup of coffee, man. It's whatever you're used to, You like Folgers, you're going to drink Folgers,
There's another question here from I'm Vintage, Not Grumpy. He's asking, is that a Jackson on the floor in the lower right?
Yes, it is, my friend. And I got another one in a case. And it's a Concord Randy Rhoads Jackson V white, and it's a beauty. And I need to get it set up and everything because I haven't touched it since I bought it, really. But that's a Jackson Warrior. It's actually a low-end model, like the lowest end you can get. My wife got it for me for Christmas a couple years ago, and I love it. Actually, I play it more than my more expensive models, and it's like a cheap couple $100 model. And then I've got a Harley Benton Explorer white in the back, which looks like a James Hetfield type guitar. I've got a custom-built 7-string green Paul Reed Smith looking shaped guitar, which I'm actually selling. And then I've got hidden away as well in a case. I've got a I'm going blank right now. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember. It's a Poltergeist Chris Poland prototype model from Schecter. And so it's it's in the case, and it's a single cut. And if you know who Chris Poland is, he's one of the old guitarists from the early Megadeth years, like Peace Sells, but Who's Buying era. Anyway, he's a jazz guitar player now, but he's got this really beautiful guitar called the Poltergeist, and I got a prototype of it, so it's pretty cool. I love it. So I've got a few, but I got to get rid of the custom green. It's a War Moth body and neck, and I custom built it and put it together, and plays beautifully. It's awesome. It's a 7-string though, and it's got some awesome Seymour Duncans in there. God, now I'm using this stream to sell my friggin' guitars, man. What is going on here? Sorry, guys. Anyway. Yeah, go to Reverb, reverb.com. That's for sale there. Anyway, guys. And I'm selling a van. My 1972 Ford. No. Anyway. Good Lord.
Casey loves eBay.
Yeah, Casey loves eBay. Let's see. What else you want to buy tonight? But yeah, so... Oh, Lord. Good Lord.
Casey, I was going to piggyback on the original, the monster clay question there.
Sure.
I remember talking with Arnold directly when he was formulating that, this wax-based clay, because I remember his original, like, Roma Plastina, clay. And I remember Arnold banged out this really cool Abraham Lincoln sculpture that he was very proud of, and for good reason. It was fantastic. But
Yeah.
just throwing it out there, that in my dealings with Arnold, he's always been really awesome to talk to.
Oh yeah, dude. Arnold Goldman is amazing person. Just humble as can be. Super nice, super knowledgeable, very helpful. He's actually a chemist. That's how he knows how to make a lot of this stuff. I mean, and thank God for him, because he put out the original formula of RD407 latex. By the way, if you guys are curious, for you mask makers, what latex I use, I exclusively use Monster Maker's RD407 latex. I love that stuff. It reminds me of the original RD407 to a T. In fact, in some ways a little better, because I know he's improved it. And that's the latex I love to use. And I'm not saying there's not some other good brands out there, for sure there are. But I mean, this is what I love, and I've been using it for, God, I think the last 7 years or so. And what else? But yeah, Arnold's great. And he's got another clay too. He's got what's the polymer clay he designed? It's amazing. I helped him test it a lot in his development stage, as well did many artists actually. But he's got a polymer clay. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering what the name is. But after you bake it, man, it's like completely bendable and flexible and amazing. So I don't know if Ryan, if you're able to look up what that clay is called, or somebody.
Yeah, I'm digging. I haven't found it quite yet.
Yeah, it's oh God, I'm blinking. My God, I'm getting old. Jesus. Anybody know good memory pills? No. It's great stuff, and you can heat it and then bend it and stuff. And Jordu has done some really awesome demos on Instagram with it. You should check out Jordu, his page. He's done some stuff with it. That's really amazing.
Oh, some people in the chat saying cosplay.
Cosplay, yes, thank you, cosplay.
Kevin Young, Titan.
Thank you guys, thank you.
Magneto Creations, Chris Dawson.
Yes.
Shouts out.
Perfect. Yeah, cosplay is the one I'm talking about, and it's you can bake it, and it's really durable afterwards, man. Extremely durable. So. And, so here we are. We're winding down. I want to say once again to you guys, and I know I'm repeating myself. I apologize, but we got to say it. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hopefully we've made your Monday a little bit better, a little bit more fun, a little bit entertaining. And I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate all the awesome questions tonight. And not that they weren't awesome ones before. There's always good ones, but thank you so much for the questions. I will always do my best to answer them as much as I know. I don't know everything, but I try to give you as much info as I can. And we did eat pineapple pizza tonight. I forgot to tell you guys. I didn't want to eat on camera. It's gross. Who wants to watch somebody chow down? So I saved you that. But we got pineapple pizza here for sure. And that's in honor of you guys. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, that are just joining us, watch episode 1.
Yeah, that was night 1.
Yeah. And you guys can go back and watch all the episodes, 1, 2, now we're at 3, anytime you want, you can check them out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me on YouTube. Please like and subscribe as always. We greatly appreciate it. Ryan, Sam, myself, we can't thank you guys enough. Be sure to tune in every Monday night, 6 to 8, and we will be here jamming away on monster stuff for you. We've got 22 episodes planned coming up. It's going to be an amazing, amazing time. A lot to share, a lot to show you guys. I will do my best to show you as much as possible. And we also, one other thing, we are planning on having special guests at some point. We're still trying to work all that out. So at some point, we will try to get some special people on here, some amazing artist friends of mine as well that I would love to have on the show. and talk about their process and their careers. So, there you have it. And don't forget, 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do 10 giveaways, 10 sets of these awesome busts, which I'm going to show you one more time. These bad boys right here can be yours. Yeah, let's get those on camera here for them. And they'll be fully painted, signed by me, and 10 lucky winners as soon as we reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, like I said, if you've got to get your grandma to subscribe, get her to subscribe, man. Come on, grandma, hook it up.
She can have the witch.
She can have the witch, but that's nothing mean towards your grandma. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much again for an amazing stream tonight. All the questions were awesome. Ryan, thank you for your help. Sam, thank you for your help. I can't do this show without you two. And these guys make it run smooth for me. I just sit here and forget things because I can't remember and I sculpt. So thank you guys. We're at 8 o'clock, right? Yeah, we're past 8. So once again, thank you so much. And we will be back next Monday live, 6 to 8. Hope you can join us. And we will see you soon. Yeah? Ryan, you got anything to say?
No, thank you, everybody for the amazing questions and the good times. And as always, we'll keep monster jamming.
Absolutely. Sam?
All good. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for coming. Peace out, everybody.